All right, Tracey, it's exciting that I get to talk to you again. Thank you for making time for this.
I love talking to you, Charles. There's always some fun notions, interesting little life moments that pop up whenever we chat.
Well, good. It's been years since we met, and you've been such a support to me. Since we're recording this, let me introduce you briefly. You have spent many, many years in professional media. You've worked on camera, and you've worked internationally. You've coached on camera talent, and now you have a life of literally flying around the world, working with executives in many of the world's most famous and influential companies, making executives more effective when they speak both in person and on camera, and spreading the message that they think are important. You've worked with me, you made me better, and I really admire that you can take somebody who's already smart, already experienced, and help them just get across what they need to get across at that chapter of their lives. Well, the reason I was inspired to record a conversation with you is you started a conversation with me, sharing how one of the things that you do is you help someone who needs to speak have what you call executive presence. And of course, whenever you're working with people who want to be influential, they want executive presence. And one of the things you shared with me is when someone approaches you and says, I want executive presence, you know that journey is bespoke. And when you said that to me, like the way I interpreted it was like, look, I can make you look better and come across better, but what we're going to do is only going to fit you. And you can't take someone else's clothes and put them on and think you'll look good in their clothes. What we need to find is what are the clothes that make you good so you come across the way you want to do. And I was like, of course, that's true. And just like with good bespoke tailoring, that takes a lot of skill to see, well, what's going to fit a new person. So please hear what you mean by that when you say it takes a bespoke journey to get executive presence.
Basically, what I mean is a lot of people say, can I just watch one of those masterclass things on executive presence and that'll be good, right? Can I watch those and then I'll have executive presence? They, deep down inside, they know the answer is no. They know that's not what they need. Those talks are definitely useful. They're a good first bite into the world of how are you going to improve how you're coming across. But frankly, as you imply, they're too general. The truth is that so much of executive presence, the stuff that really makes a difference and differentiates us from everybody else in the room, is our confidence in ourselves. And then the next thing I hear is, oh, but how do I get that confidence, Tracey? Because I'm a little bit concerned, or I'm new in the job, or I have imposter syndrome. There are a bunch of reasons to not feel that confidence. And the truth is that it's actually quite simple. It comes in the clarity of your purpose. So I'll work with people and I'll say, okay, what's your purpose going into this meeting? They'll work on their presentation, their hello, who they're going to thank, how they're going to answer all the questions at the end of a presentation. And then I say, what's the purpose of this presentation that you're making tomorrow? And they'll say, oh, wow, my purpose of the presentation is to do the presentation, I think. The truth is, 9 times out of 10, it's either to persuade, to convince, to bring on your side. Sometimes it's to apologize. Sometimes it's to clarify. Sometimes it's to strengthen a message. And that will always come through in someone who has executive presence because they're walking into the room with purpose. Charles, when you go into a session, when you meet a group of people, you know exactly what your purpose is, don't
Yes,
you?
yes. And I know that my purpose is not just to use up time. And it's definitely not just to impress them with what I know or what I've done. Well, who wants to be in that room? And second of all, if it's important to impress them, they can find that somewhere else and not with me talking about myself.
Yes. And that probably includes the word change, right? You want to
Yeah.
change them for
Yeah.
something. Again, you either want to help them or have them expand. What changes can you picture you expecting in a session?
Overwhelmingly, when I'm invited to speak, there is an aspiration that the people in the room will be leaders in helping form relationships that are critical, be they professional or volunteer or with funders. I think that there's some bonding that is lacking in that ecosystem, let's call it. And so my intention is after people have spent time with me, they will have skills to knit together relationships that are critical to them. And I'm not exaggerating, Tracey. My actual aspiration is they'll be able to do that in ways that impact more than one generation. And I believe that's true. I believe that if somebody is good at knitting together relationships of support and well-being, and trust and admiration, kids and grandkids are going to see that role modeling, and that will fundamentally change their lives. So when I'm in the room, my aspiration is to actually influence more than one generation in the time that I'm given.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. And two things. First of all, I've been in the room when you've done your presentations, your sessions, all the work and all the discovery that you do. And I can confirm that there is definitely change happening. I was sitting in the audience when people are saying, whoa, this is good. I can confirm that happens. Consider this. on the topic of executive presence. Imagine walking into that room and saying, well, what I'm going to do my slideshow. I'm going to read my
Mhm.
presentation. It's such a big difference, right? The goal that you have, the purpose that you feel, and the drive that you have, believe it or not, people should have that in pretty much every interaction, even with your barista, even with the person delivering your mail. You should have feeling on, oh, I want this person to feel appreciated, or I want this person to be efficient, right? It's absolutely always a two-way street. And sometimes we neglect what our purpose is in that two-way street.
What you're reminding me of is my belief that the people that people want to be around, this is, of course, relevant when we want to be hosts, we want people to show up to us, right? The people that we want to be around are the people that we're convinced want us to be better. And better can be on any spectrum that is relevant to us. Better parent, better athlete, better cook, better conversationalist. Pick one. Almost doesn't matter. We don't want to be around the people who just want us to think they're awesome, right? We may think they're awesome, but if someone's spending their time convincing us they're awesome, like, wow, there's so many other places I could be than here. But if I spend time with you, Tracey, and you help me be a person who uses the attention I'm given to make a bigger difference because people can understand me, they pay attention better, they're more excited, well, then I want to go to where you are. Whereas if you invite me somewhere just to let me know all the very influential people you hang out with, oh man, that's a terrible lunch.
Yeah, I know. And there's a moment, isn't there? There's a moment in our human spirit when you realize that. Because you can talk to someone and you might even start talking about work and say, oh my gosh, this person knows some really interesting people and has done some really interesting work. And then there's a tipping point where you think, oh, get it. Person is just going to talk my ear off about the wonderful things that they've done. Whereas, because there's nothing wrong in sharing what you're good at, what you've succeeded at, etc. You do in some cases, as you have to toot your own horn and you have to explain what is your passion in life and what drives you. That's wonderful. But then there's a tipping point where the person listening, or at least in my experience, when I hear somebody and I think, oh, this is not a two-way street anymore, is it? You're just talking at me.